All right, hello again, everybody. This is Derek. I just got back. Take off my shoes here. These. All right, we are going to be painting some World War II French. What do we got here? We got average air to air. Says morning. Well, good morning to you as well. Yeah, we're going to be painting some World War II French. I'm almost finished with them. I'm painting these up as a commission for one of my regular customers. I got to get kind of settled in and just relax for a few minutes before we actually get started. Let's go ahead and put these out of the way. These are the colors that I'm going to be working with to finish. I've already got started on these guys. Yeah. They're like 90%. Well, maybe not 90. They're like 75% done. Not counting the basing. Ooh, that was good. Got a little bit of an upset stomach this morning. I made some eggs, scrambled eggs this morning, and I mixed in a little bit of salsa and cheese with them. And I probably shouldn't have done that because now my stomach's all upset. You know, and I don't feel good. Not like I want to throw up, but, just like an upset stomach. Now, I've been thinking that I want to do khaki. I need to find, yeah, my camo beige. Okay, there we go. Because there's one shoulder strap that goes over the shoulder that I want to paint camo beige. But the rifle sling, I don't think the rifle sling's supposed to be leather. It shows it as being khaki. So actually on this it shows it as being camo beige, so it's like very, very light. Except in the colors, none of these are camo beige. They've got khaki gray and khaki. But the hats are khaki gray. Yeah, so they're saying it's khaki, but it looks much lighter than khaki. So, but I want to do the rifles before I do the slings. And two different I watched a couple of different people paint the French, and they each painted the rifles differently. So what I want to do is pull up a historical document and actually look at the gotta clean my glasses because there's too much fuzz on them. I want to look at some historical French um, yeah, that'll be good. So how should I word this? I'm just going to put rifle. Of our, okay, the Maz 36. No, that's post. No, hold on. It was manufactured from 37 onward. um, so service. Okay. I'm looking at the Maz. I'm looking at the Labelle. The Berthier. Okay, the rifles that they're carrying are not the Berthier. Yeah. The rifle that they're carrying is a bolt action. Okay, unless there's a couple of different rifles. Yes, there are two different rifles. There's the short one and the long one. So the Moss 36 and the Labelle. That's what it looks like. Okay, so that might be why these two guys painted them differently. Okay, so the Moss has a wooden stock and a wooden furniture all the way up to the barrel. But let me look at the Labelle. Uh, yep, and that one does have, okay. All right, so that answered my question. All right, so the long rifle has a exposed barrel the full length, just like Napoleonic rifles. And this short barrel has a wooden stock all the way up. So, okay, so I just have to pay attention to which one I'm painting and just understand that. Okay, that's fine by me. I didn't bother looking at the light machine gun. I probably should look at that. Okay, I gotta cut a couple of fingers. So I was noticing my fingernails starting to get a little long, and might cut through those gloves. Yeah, I've got another commission after this one, which is some Dutch Belgian Napoleonic 15 millimeters. The same customer that had me do some Nassau troops for him came back for some Dutch Belgians. That's a good sign. That means he liked and was happy and pleased with what I did for him. Same thing with this guy. This guy is kept me busy. I've done some Hungarians for this guy. And I did some US D-Day, like the 29th? Or maybe they're Rangers. I don't remember. But yeah, they were D-Day guys. And now he's got me doing some early war French. I had to pull the red out because a couple of the officers have those caps with the red tops. I don't know what they call that. A kepi? Kind of looks like a kepi, but it looks like the Pink Panther inspectors hats, you know. I don't know what they call that hat. Okay, we're going to do a quick glance at the light machine gun. Maybe I should say LMG. Okay, it's all metal except for the very back stock. Okay. SMG. Moz 38. Looks all metal except for the stock. And maybe the pistol grip. Okay. Should be a lot of easy painting. Now, on these guys, I'm planning on using flat earth instead of my new wood or my beige brown. Now, on the long and the short rifle, I'm just going to paint it all wood, 100%. And then on the long rifles, I'm going to go back in later and paint the barrels. I think I'm going to paint them with German gray first, and then give them like a metallic highlight. Okay, maybe too much water. Guess we'll see. So I got my Fallschirmjägers done for my O group, 15 millimeter. So the next two armies that I'm going to work on is the German SS and American infantry, line infantry or what have you. And I think I'm going to make a little bit of a change to the way I base them. I might do just 2 figures per base. And then kind of evaluate. I'll probably do the Americans or maybe the SS. Well, whichever battalion I do first, I'm going to base them up with 2 figures per base instead of my 3. It'll stretch out the figures. So I'll have to paint less, right? But I kind of want it to be a little bit compatible with my spearhead and my command decision. So really it's just kind of an experiment. 3 figures per base would still be compatible with Spearhead and Command Decision. So if it doesn't look good, it doesn't feel right, then I'll go back and rebase them with 3 figures per squad. Now on these figures, I was looking forward to painting some of their pants blue, but only I think they call them chasseurs. Only the chasseurs had the blue pants. Kind of like light infantry. And these guys all have the hats that identify them as colonial troops. So I'm painting them all up as colonials. Now, if it was me, when I put these squads together, now he gave me 4 squads. What's kind of funny about these 4 squads, they all have 14 figures in them. And I don't know if that's the right size for a squad. But whether they are or not, that's what he wants. And he wants me to repack them when I ship them to him by squad. So he's very particular about how I ship them back. What's funny is I should be able to just mix them all up, and then he should be able to just reorganize them into his squads when he gets them. But as you can see, I don't paint one squad at a time. Paint the whole lot. So what I did was put little bullet point markers on the bottom of the base to let me know which squad they came from, so that when I repackage them, I'll do what he asks. They'll be repackaged by squad. Now, this is the first time I've done this in a long time. I painted the flesh brown, because normally I'll just paint the flesh tone, and if the first coat doesn't stick, I'll paint it with a second coat. But because I primed them olive drab, I decided to go ahead and take a little initiative and paint their flesh brown, because flesh tone goes on top of brown very well. Depending on which brown you use, you can use it as the shading on the flesh. I also noticed that one guy that was painting these painted the bayonets silver, and I don't think that the bayonets are exposed like that. I think they're in sheaths. And I think the sheaths are like really dark brown or they're black. So that's what I plan to paint them. He also painted their they're not gaiters. They're like leg wrappings. When he went to paint their boots, he just painted all the way up to the pants. Painted their leg wrappings and everything. Yeah, so he's making me want to do a French painting tutorial that's accurate. Because his version is not accurate. There's a word for those leg wrappings. I can't remember what they're called. Puttees? I think they're called puttees. Now, I thought about getting that Hannibal box set from Warlord Games, but I just can't do it. I've thought about it and I said, this sounds like it's going to be really exciting to get. Let me go ahead and get it. But then the closer it got to release date, I was like, why am I thinking about getting this game? I'm not going to ever play it. It's not the right scale. The bases are too big. Yeah, I just talked myself out of it. Because 60 millimeter wide bases, too big. It's not even 15 millimeter. It's more like 13 and a half. It's very proprietary. If you want to play it, you got to play it in their scale with their bases. And I said, nah. If I'm playing Ancients, I'm going to play Meg. So I don't plan to get it. Just FYI, guys. Now I should have a MiG paint order coming in at some point. I did receive my World War II models that I ordered. Remember I said I ordered the Waco glider? Well, I got both gliders in, but I only got one set of wings. So I got to contact the company and say, I got both fuselages. Thank you for that. But I only got one set of wings. I also only got one set of landing gear and skids. Now I'm probably not going to use the landing gear. I'm just going to set it on the table like it's crashed. You know, like a glider does. But I need all the wings. But everything else about that set looked really good. Now the French APCs, they're about half the length of an M5 half track. You know, the American half track. So I'm going to have to get in there and check the dimensions and see if they were in fact half the length. Because that would make them like super tiny. And I'm curious to see, I thought they were about the same length as a 251. Now, Flames of War, I think, have just released their 21st Panzer Division box set. And they also have that French vehicle in there. That was the whole reason why I got them. Was so that if I ever wanted to do the 21st Panzer, I would have those French half tracks. Okay, this is slow going. Super easy, just monotonous. Now my boy is still in there asleep. He must be off today. Because he normally opens. Yeah, I took my Flames of War Panzer IV and I compared it to the 3D model that I just got in of the Panzer IV, and it's a few millimeters shorter. So one of them is true scale and one of them is either small or extra large. My gut's telling me the Flames War model is bigger, because they usually go with that heroic scale stuff for their infantry, so I wouldn't put it past them to do that with the tank as well. Pair. So a lot of calories in this can. 150 calories. It's pure pear juice. Or as they say, pear nectar. 9.6 ounces. Shake well for better flavor. I don't think I did that. That's all right though. Contains 34% juice. That's actually pretty good. Okay, I'm getting on the very bottom end of this paint. Guess I should refresh it. So every now and then I'm going to glance up at the chat. If you guys have anything to say, don't expect me to reply immediately, but I will reply. I'll glance up at the chat. If I see that there is a chat, then I'll try to reply. So I don't know why, but this morning I was thinking of all my all my escapades when I was doing airsoft. You know, all my tournaments and all the mill sims and stuff like that I went to. The local airsoft field, which is not very local. It's like 100 miles away. Literally. Takes me about an hour and a half to get there. But I haven't done that in years. Got all the gear and stuff. So if I just had the inclination to just get up and go, I could do that. I've got everything I need. You know, BBs, batteries, guns, masks. I got all of it. But pretty much ever since we moved into this house, I haven't had a desire to go do it. And I got into it because I had a friend did a lot of wargaming with and stuff like that, and he was into it, and I didn't know what he was really what it was or what, you know, he talked so highly of it, and he went to a couple of fields in the area, and he had a lot of good war stories and stuff like that from when he went. And I thought it might be cool to go check out. So after I checked it out one time, I was hooked. I was like, whoa, this is really cool. This is fun as hell. Let's, you know, I want to do this a lot. And that was only half of it. The other half was I had basically just got dissatisfied with my local chapter of the Society for Creative Anachronisms. I was a huge SCA fan. I would go to tournaments and fight in wars and all kinds of different things in the SCA. And then I had an argument with one of the knights. He was actually my knight. I was a squire of his. And we had an argument which I could look past. And I could move on. And then there was another event, I should call it incident. There was another incident between his squires and myself, because I wasn't the only squire. And they were only involved in this incident because of a false perception of what had happened with that first argument. And then I was saying to myself, okay, I can look past this. That's no problem. I mean, it's a little uncomfortable, and I understood they didn't really know what was going on. And then there was another incident between one of his men-at-arms and myself. Now, this incident wasn't hostile or anything. None of them were really hostile. Okay, maybe rephrase that. They were all hostile, but none of them got physical. Let's just say that. It was all just words. But then there was this other incident, this last one I was talking about, where one of the men-at-arms approached me at an event that I was working at. He had a couple of words with me. And at that point, I was like, when is it ever going to stop? You know, why am I paying money to go to these events or working the event, you know, the booths or the field? Why am I here working, going out of my way if I'm going to constantly be attacked? At every turn. Now, let's not get into all the details of what actually happened. But basically, I said to myself, okay, I'm done. I'm not going back. I'm not doing any more of this. I'm gonna seek out another hobby, and I found airsoft. Airsoft didn't really replace the SCA because the SCA was a more 24/7, you know what I mean? It was more of a community. You interacted with the people even when you weren't at an event. So the airsoft was more of an on-off kind of thing, which I actually enjoyed that aspect of it. Which means like when I left the field, I was done. I didn't have to interact with those guys. Even though we had a team and we practiced, but it wasn't like I went over to their house and had Halloween parties. I didn't go over to their house and work on building their gear. Now, I did have a guy come over to my house one time and we worked on his batteries. But that was not the norm. In the SCA, going over to someone's house, working on armor or working on garb or going shopping for feast gear or whatever was kind of the norm. Now, when I started going to these tournaments and these events, I asked my wife if she would ever like to come along with me. And the answer was no. Which I got her into the SCA. And now all of her friends are in the SCA. Well, meaning she met all of her friends in the SCA. So I thought, since I'm not going to the SCA anymore, maybe she would like to come with me to an airsoft event. And the answer was no. Which I kind of get because airsoft is a little bit different. Running through the woods, firing toy guns at each other. It's a little bit different than that in the SCA. You got feasts and merchants and a lot more girl like uh, activities. But basically, those arguments in the SCA that I had with my knight destroyed my marriage. And I say that because I took it personally, right? I took this whole argument with this knight seriously. Now, I could get past it. I could work past it, but there was this constant battle with this knight's squires and men at arms and stuff. And when I told my wife what had happened, and I said, this is why I'm not going to any more events, it's because of X, Y, and Z. She was like, okay, I'm still going. And I took that as her not supporting me. I felt like she was on their side. And ever since then, I've had a lot of resentment toward her. And one day, I did make a comment to her about it. About how I didn't like the fact that she was taking their side over mine. I'm her husband. She should be backing me up. Even if it was just to talk with them and get them to apologize to me or something. But I said, you're taking their side against me, and I'm your husband. And our interaction went a little bit like this. So, is what she said. So, you want me to stop going? And I was like, no, that's not what I'm saying. It is what I'm saying, but I said, no, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, I want you to be on my side, and I want you to want to not go. She goes, oh, well, I want to go, so I'm going to keep going. And ever since that minute, I have not considered her my wife. I've considered her my roommate. We live in the same house. I pay some of the bills. She pays some of the bills. And that's when I decided to start airsoft. But because there was no field like really close, I had to go do any game. I had to drive for like an hour and a half to get to any kind of event. I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. Now in the SCA, I would have driven like 4 hours to go to an event, but those events last the entire weekend. You know, you get off work on Friday, you take a big trip to another state, and you camp out on Friday night. You fight in the tournament or the war on Saturday, party all night, and then on Sunday you pack up and go home. But airsoft wasn't like that. It was like Saturday, I grab all my gear early in the morning, drive to the field, we play all day, and then we drive home. Now, we did do a little bit of tailgating, you know, for lunch or whatever. But I just started to feel okay. I started to feel like it was just too much. If I had a field that was a lot closer, or if there was a lot more overnight events, I would still be doing it. There was this one event I went to in North Carolina, which was an overnight event. On a massive field. That was fun. But that was like an 8-hour drive to get there. Yeah, we actually got pulled over for speeding. I wasn't driving. I was the passenger. Whoops. Okay. Okay, flat earth done. I don't know, my stomach is really starting to hurt. Oh. I don't know what it is. Hope it's not those eggs. I cooked them. Hope, hope it's not that bird flu that's going around. Might just be gas. And I need to burp. I think it might be because I think I'm starting to feel better just from those short burps. Oh, I had the microphone so far away. Hopefully you guys could have heard me. Probably can. The microphone's pretty sensitive. Mm. Okay. Oh, goodness. Sorry, guys. I'm feeling a little verklempt or whatever that means. Yeah, just got a little upset stomach going on. Yeah, this weekend I'm gonna have to take a few hours and get everything ready for my traveler game because we got somewhere into the adventure where I wasn't prepared. Like I didn't have any of the maps ready or anything. So I need to get that ready. So that'll be sometime this weekend that I'll be doing that. I keep getting these emails from Battle Scale. I've gotten like 3 of them asking me to rate my transaction, and I don't want to fill it out because I would fill it out with a negative, would not give them a high score because I'm expecting a missing building from the order. I ordered like 15 buildings and I only got 14. And I contacted them and let them know, hey, I'm missing this one building. And they were like, okay, we'll send it out. And then like a month later after that, I'm getting an email asking me, so how'd you like ordering that one building? Okay. Well, that what I'm hoping that means is they shipped it, and that's why I'm getting those emails, but I just haven't received the package yet. That's what I'm hoping. So I'm putting off replying to those emails. So today, after we're done here, I'm going to send an email to the 3D for those wings on my second Horsa glider. And I'm going to send an email to Battle Scale about that one building I haven't gotten. Because I've been postponing building some built up areas until I receive that one building. I could get started right now and I could start doing built up areas without that building. But I just want to have it. I just don't want to get started until I've got everything, you know? I still need to work on a few pieces of terrain, like some fields, which I located where all my crop fields were, but they're cut pretty sizable, you know, like 8 or 10 inches, and I want to bring them down to like 6-inch squares or close to that for my O group, because right now I have them originally cut for like 28 millimeter fields for like black powder. Oh, got a yawn going on. Also, I sold my 15 millimeter church. I've got this giant church, right? It's like this big, literally. It's like this big, long length. It's a lot narrower, but it's like this long, and it's like this tall of the main church. And then it's got a steeple, and okay, so I'm looking over at it. That's like the main height of the church. And then the steeple makes it like almost a full 11 or 12 inches tall. And that seems huge for a 15 millimeter, right? It just seems like it should be a 28 millimeter model. I guess it would be, for a 28 millimeter, it would be more like a chapel. But for 15 millimeter, I could see that being a huge church. And so, because I didn't realize how big it was, I'm selling it. It's already painted and everything. So I'm selling it on my eBay. I had it sitting on eBay for about a year, right? Nobody has bid on it. It's just sat there. I had it as a buy it now, so you didn't even have to auction. You could just buy it. I had it sitting there for like a year. And starting about a month ago, I said, let me go through some of these models that I've got that I want to just get rid of. And I thought, okay, this church, I want to get rid of it. So let's put it on an auction. And I took it down to like $20, right? I think the original church on the Sarissa website is already $20. So you're getting it assembled and painted. So, um, so I posted it, and then like a week or two after I posted on auction, I got a bid, $20. And I'm like, oh wow, okay, cool. I'm gonna get to sell this thing. I'm gonna get rid of it on my shelf because it takes up the entire shelf. I'm gonna get rid of it, and I can use that $20 to put some other models on the shelf. So it sells. This is a couple of weeks ago. It sells $20. I send the guy the invoice saying this is how much it is with shipping. Thank you. A couple of days later, no payment. I send him an invoice again saying this is how much it is with shipping. Thank you. So after about 2 weeks of no payment, I went into eBay and I said, I would like to report this buyer. And he said, like, what is the reason? And I was like, no payment. And it said, okay, would you like us to cancel this order and relist it? And I was like, yep, let's do that. Cancel, relist. So, like the same day it gets relisted, somebody else bids on it. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, $5 really makes a difference, right? Because I had it on there for 25 and now I have it on there for 20. And these are two different people bidding on it. So I was like, okay, let's later today that auction will be over with. And then I'm going to send him an invoice and let's see if he pays. I think it's a different guy, so there should be no problem. But I don't know for sure because I didn't check the old bid. Okay. This is Kador red base. That's not the one I wanted. That's the bright red. There we go. I want the Scorn red. It's like a really deep red. And this is going to be on the 4 of the caps. Now I got to be careful because I want to go over the edge, but I don't want to get it all over the blue. So my wife is dog sitting for one of those SCA friends of hers. This should be the last week of the dog sitting, so she should be back this weekend. Um, so her son is visiting from Texas. See, he's in the Air Force, and he married a Texan girl. He's got a couple of kids, my grandkids, and they're visiting her at the dog sitting house. Like, that's where they're staying. So they're really here visiting with her. Probably for 3 days or something like that. Probably until the weekend. I really don't know the details. But again, like I said, I hate to say this, but it's the truth. I really don't pay attention to what she does because she's my roommate and not my wife. I've stopped treating her in my mind like she's my wife. I feel like whenever she's home, I feel like she treats me like one of her kids. She has 3, and I would be the 4th. So, I don't know, I just have a bad marriage. Okay, let's see if I can fix that a little bit. Doesn't really need it, but yep, it's fixed. Okay, that was all the red I wanted to do. Okay, now we're going to do khaki, but it's really only going to be on a few of the backpacks. Wow, I've been streaming for an hour 40. Okay. So these guys are supposed to have olive drab. Okay, good. I'm glad that's much lighter. They're supposed to have olive drab uniforms. I mean, the actual paint color to use is olive drab from Vallejo, based on all the painting guides that I've read. So I decided to spray paint them with olive drab. And as you know, I've got like 7 or 8 different manufacturers of olive drab. So I used the AK olive drab spray paint to prime these guys. And it came out just a little bit too brown. So I went back okay, after all the packs, I'm going to have to come back with that strap. Doing the packs first, strap second. Okay. So then I went back over them with a very watered down olive drab. And so now they actually look like they have greenish uniforms and not brown uniforms. Even though they are still kind of brown because it's olive drab and not olive green. But it's not as bad as the spray was originally. Yeah, most of these guys don't have a backpack. Now, I haven't gotten to it yet, but I remember one of these packs has an entrenching tool, and I noticed that the French entrenching tool is actually collapsible. I mean, the handle can be separated from the spade. Okay, this pack looks like he's got a bedroll. I want to come back later and paint the bedroll. And I've got to paint their slings as well. So not just the little cross strap, but also their sling. All right. Okay, this one's got a bedroll as well. So I'm just taking mental inventory that there's 2 packs with a bedroll. Yeah, and this is the one with the trenching tool. Got wood sticking up under the top flap like a pole. The handle. And then there's a spade head like right there. Pretty cool actually. So I'm going to have to find out what color the bedroll is supposed to be. It's probably olive drab. Okay, this is the second pack that looks like this. It's got like a little cooking pot. Oh, the second entrenching tool. Okay. 2 cooking pots, 2 entrenching tools, 2 bedrolls. Okay. So 2 of all the specialty packs. That's good. Okay. So now we're going to do a cross strap on the chest. And then if I can. Okay, I can't even see a cross strap on this guy. So we'll just do the sling. Okay, with the right lighting and the right angle, I can see a cross strap. Okay, but just barely. Okay. Okay. You guys are starting to come together. No backpack. You got to do the cross strap on their back as well. As you might know, guys, I only paint for a couple hours at a time because my eyes start to get all cross-eyed and I don't want to continue with weak eyes. So when my eyes start to get weak, I'll just stop the stream, and I'm mentioning it because I'm starting to feel it. I'm having to like squint and focus focus extra hard. Doing okay right now. Just expect the stream to come to a close here soon. So I saw something online that I'm not sure if I understand it correctly. I got a sale flyer from Skytrex for Gates of Antares. Now, I own the rulebook for Gates of Antares. I also have a couple of different armies. Neither one of them are painted, but I did get them primed and assembled like I was going to paint them. Because it's basically bolt action in space. So I kind of like really, I love bolt action. I think it's a good system for man to man. So I thought, you know, Gates of Antares would be fun. It's got its own space lore and all that. Because I really stopped liking 40K. Was looking for an alternative. But I got a sale flyer from Skytrex. saying that Gates of Antares is now exclusively from Skytrex. Where originally it was Warlord Games. So I wonder if they sold the rights to it to Skytrex. But I also notice on their website that Skytrex is I think it's a partner. A lot like Sarissa and Renedra and Italeri. I think they're all kind of in cahoots. But I wonder if to buy Gates of Antares products, you have to go to Skytrex. Because I know Warlord has been working on a second edition for a while now. And I personally have been kind of pushing back my enthusiasm until a second edition gets released. Because I don't want to get an army and then have it not be playable. You know, like in Warhammer 40K or Warhammer Fantasy. Anything Games Workshop. Some of you might have been following along when I was doing my O group Fallschirmjägers and how I was complaining about the Panzerbusch, and I don't have any stats for it or whatever. Well, when I was doing these boot camps, and I'm glad I'm doing these boot camps, because as I was doing the boot camp, I stumbled upon the stats for a Panzerbusch. So I used to have this philosophy that if you can't see it, it doesn't need to be painted. So what I would do is, now this is when I was really starting to get into Napoleonics. I played Napoleon's battles, and I would glue all the figures to a base so that I could play with them even if they weren't prime, or even if they weren't painted. And then once I got all my units, you know, assembled and glued on their bases and all that, I would go back in and I would paint units at a time. And you couldn't get to certain areas because the figures were so close together on this base. But my philosophy at the time was, well, if I can't get my paintbrush in there, then it doesn't need to be painted. Because nobody's going to see it anyway. And then gradually my philosophy has changed to paint them separately. Mainly I paint them on a popsicle stick. Like six on a popsicle stick. And then once they're all painted and dried and everything else, then you can glue them onto the base and you'll get a more complete paint job. And I'm looking at some of these models. The straps are like under the weapon or under their arms, and I can't get to them. So I revert to my old ways. If you can't see it, don't worry about painting it. This is going to be a very fast turnaround time for these French. Now, he did not give me a box or any direction. Like, he didn't tell me these were French or anything. His only direction was make sure you keep them in their right squads. Which I'm doing. But I was like, what are these guys? What nationality are these? So I went to the Warlord site. And I immediately thought they were French because of those officers. So I was like, okay, let me make sure. So I find the French box set. And lo and behold, that's these figures. But before I went and looked, I sent him an email and I said, hey, what figures are these? You know, what nationality? And I got a very weird response from him. Can you send me the box and let me take a look at the box and then I could tell you? Well, first of all, you don't know what you sent me. And second of all, I wouldn't be asking if I had the box. It would be on the box. So I looked around, I found them, and I was like, never mind. I see, they're French. Don't worry about it. But that tells me that he's got a lot of commissions going out. That he can't keep them straight. Now, this guy used to exclusively send me money orders. And I told him no more money orders. I only deal with PayPal payments. He can use a credit card. He can use PayPal account. He can use whatever he wants. But it needs to go to my PayPal invoice. For tax purposes. So we'll see what he's going to try to do. Hopefully it's not send me a money order. Because that's just more work for me to convert it into my invoice so that I can keep track of it. So when I'm done with these, and I send him the invoice, I'm going to include an email that says, don't forget, I don't accept money orders. It has to be paid through PayPal. Now he's paying or has paid in the past using money orders because that's how he keeps track of his stuff. But I was telling him, if you can't do a PayPal money transfer or credit card, then don't send me a commission. You know, basically I'm willing to lose the business. I know it's horrible. You would think that I'd be willing to take any form of payment. But the answer is no. I'm not. Yeah, and I switched on the 1st of the year. Basically, I put out an email to all my customers that have previously worked with me with my new pricing scheme, because my prices went up like $1, literally $1. But in that, I also said no more money orders. And that was pretty much, to be honest, it was pretty much aimed at him. Because he's the only one that was sending me money orders. Oof. I'm fighting this upset stomach. Excuse me. Oh, excuse me again. Running out of paint in my palette here. You know, I'm almost to the point where I need to replenish it. But I'm not going to. I'm going to finish it, and then we're going to call it quits for the day. Because my eyes are starting to get a little blurry. Oh, see? All right, that's it, guys. I'm going to call it quits for the evening, or the morning, I should say. I'll finish these all off camera. And maybe I'll come on live tomorrow. I don't know. But I do need to work on my Traveler campaign as well. So, all right. I'll catch you guys in the next one, guys. Oh, wait. Before I leave, I got one chat. Cameron says, hello, do you take commissions for Revolutionary War miniatures? Absolutely, Cameron. I do. Do you have an email address? Or better yet, I'll just put it into chat. Okay, guys? Am I still live? Did I close it? Okay, let me... And Abba Grape air to air. Not just yet, but yeah, thank you though. Okay, let me find my price scheme. Painting price scheme. There it is. It's a Google Doc. I'm going to hit share. Copy the link. Let's see if this works. Where is my... Oh, right here in front of me. That link should work. You know, it's that one. It's in chat. All right, guys. I am out. I expect an email to see if what you want to do.